May I come in?
Come in, please.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Yash. Please have your seat. So, Yash Kale.
Yes, ma'am.
Firstly, introduce yourself to the board.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Yash Kale. I hail from Nashik, Maharashtra. I've completed my BTech in Mechanical Engineering from VIT Pune, after which I've worked for 11 months in a company known as ZS Associates as a Business Operations Associate. Since then, I've been preparing for the civil services. My hobbies are reading non-fiction books, watching TED Talks, and heritage tourism.
Very right. So, you are from Maharashtra
Yes, ma'am.
and applying for forest service.
Yes, ma'am.
So, what is the forest cover of your state?
Ma'am, it is 16%.
16%. And what's the national average?
Ma'am, 24%, including forest and tree cover.
Okay, and what's the difference between forest cover, tree cover and forest area?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, forest cover is the cover that is more than 1 hectare and has more than 10% of canopy density, while tree cover is the area that is less than 1 hectare. And ma'am, forest area is all those areas recorded as recorded forest areas under government records.
So, is it possible that we have an area where there are no trees and it is recorded as forest area?
Yes, ma'am, it is possible.
Okay. How many national parks are there in your state?
Ma'am, 6.
Name them.
Sanjay Gandhi National Park, Chandoli National Park, Tadoba National Park, Pench, and Gugamal.
Have you visited any of the national parks?
No, ma'am, I haven't.
You haven't visited. You read non-fiction books. So, name any 5 books.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, the last one that I read was Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, then Ikigai, then Rich Dad Poor Dad, Psychology of Money, and The Wisest Man in Babylon.
So, you have read these books. Tell me, do you want to be rich?
Ma'am, financially secure. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So then why enter into civil services? Why not be an entrepreneur?
Ma'am, while of course entrepreneur is a very noble profession that offers a lot of opportunities and financial freedom, civil services, in my opinion, gives me one step ahead of that, and that is work satisfaction for me personally. It may vary from person to person. However, I think that my interests and my strengths are most suited to this service, ma'am.
Okay. Yash, you are vaccinated, I guess?
Yes, ma'am.
So then you can remove your mask. Can I ask you again? So why do you want to enter civil services?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, there are 3 major reasons. One is relevance, that I want to be in a place wherein I can make a large amount of impact in sectors that are relevant not just to me but to the society at large. Secondly, the scale of impact that I feel that is very rarely found in other services, other sectors. And finally, ma'am, I've grown up in a family of civil servants, and I've watched them closely, the challenges they face and the work satisfaction and all the other factors. And looking at them, I felt that this is something that I would like to do.
So, you always wanted to be a civil servant?
Ma'am, that is actually, I have always wanted to be, that has been a latent thought. However, while working in ZS Associates, I realized that while the corporate sector offers a lot of great opportunities, my true interests lie in the public sector. That is where I made the final call of coming to civil services. Ma'am.
Okay. Have you read anything on environment and forest out of interest?
Of late, most of the readings have been academic, ma'am. But ma'am, I have watched TED Talks.
Okay. So, any TED Talk you have watched on environment and forest?
Yes, ma'am. The one by Dr. Solanki from IIT Bombay. That is a TEDx talk that focuses on his project of bottom-up solar governance that he calls Energy Swaraj, wherein the project known as Sol, they tried to make very small sustainable solar lamp models, and they distributed it to across India among the underprivileged sections, and then later encouraged them to build the models themselves, so that they become truly energy independent. And being a Gandhian, he thought that this is the version of Swaraj that Gandhiji would have wanted.
Okay. One of your hobby is heritage tourism, you told us. So, if you have to translate it to forest, if you get selected and you are given charge of promoting forest tourism, how will it be different from your earlier hobby?
Yes, ma'am. The primary difference would be that while heritage tourism encompasses a lot of sectors, forest tourism or ecotourism as a broader set of it would primarily be conserved with only natural heritage. However, large parts of the interest and the appeal remains the same, but heritage primarily revolves around things of past, that is artifacts or monuments or natural structures that relate to the past, while forest tourism is not just the past or the present but also a very strong part of future. So the appeal and the marketing of that would be tuned to that, the future.
Okay. So, before I pass on to the next panelist, tell me what is the difference between major forest produce and minor forest produce?
Ma'am, major forest produce primarily involves three things: timber, fodder, and fuel wood. While on the other hand, the minor forest produces are from a plethora of sectors such as gums, resins, fruits, rope making, grasses, etc.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
So UNESCO declares a few heritage sites. So are there any natural sites in that list?
Yes, ma'am. Western Ghats, which
How many are there in India?
Ma'am, I'm unable to recall the exact number, but ma'am, Western Ghats is the natural site, and along with that, the Kanchenjunga Reserve is a mixed site which represents both culture and natural site.
Tell me two Ramsar sites of Maharashtra.
Yes, ma'am. One is Nandur Madmeshwar, which is very close to Nashik, where I am from, and the other one is Lonar Lake.
Lunar Lake. Lunar Lake is very peculiar and very interesting in a lot of ways. So can you elaborate what makes it very unique?
Ma'am, it is one of the few places where impact of a hypervelocity crater is so well preserved. There are only 3 sites.
In which era or how many years back did it crater impacted taken?
Ma'am, I'm unaware of the exact year, but ma'am, if I may take a calculated guess, it would be 64 million years ago during the end of the Jurassic period.
Actually correct. So what are the other peculiarities? It's also pink in color, I guess.
Ma'am, to the best of my knowledge, it is actually usually green in color, but the pink color of recent times has been attributed to a microbe.
Microbe?
Yes, ma'am.
Which microbe? Microbes or pigments?
Ma'am, I'm unaware of the exact reason, but the thing that I can recall is that the microbes secrete a certain pigment after their death, and that causes the pink color in the lake.
Okay, you're not sure about which microbe is associated. No, okay. And have you heard about Madhav Gadgil? You must have.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So he had important recommendations about eco-sensitive zones in Western Ghats. Are you aware of his recent recommendations in context of wildlife preservation, environment?
Yes, ma'am. I do remember reading them, but I am unable to recall the exact provisions. There were certain reasons wherein Dr. Gadgil had criticized the Wildlife Protection Act and the Forest Rights Act for certain lacunas.
Okay. No, actually he was talking in context of increased man-animal conflict and stricter provisions in favor of animals, even if they harm people in general. So that was his thing. Okay, and if I ask you what is happening in Indian economy, what are the 3 biggest challenges today? Which 3 biggest challenges would you see?
Ma'am, the record high inflation, the slowing down of economic growth.
When you say record high?
Ma'am, after the 2012-2013 period, wherein
this is the highest inflation we are seeing after that?
To the best of my knowledge, yes, ma'am. After that, ma'am, the currency exchange, the currency rate,
exchange rate
is at the lowest, ma'am, and the slowdown, the general slowdown of growth that we are experiencing after COVID-19.
Okay, these are the 3 biggest challenges. What about unemployment? You're happy about the unemployment situation? Employment opportunities of Indian economy?
No, ma'am, that is also a major problem.
And you mentioned exchange rate depreciating rupee. as a major problem. So what kind of repercussions that increasing exchange rate has?
Ma'am, the foremost is that it increases our import bill significantly, and that threatens our current account deficit and in general balance of payment reserves. The problem that is the RBI would then have
but at the same time it is supposed to encourage exports.
Yes, ma'am.
So why it's not happening in India?
Ma'am, because ma'am, the foremost import, that is crude oil, is something that we are dependent on, and because the imports significantly outweigh the exports, so that is why the depreciating currency is a problem for us. And as regards to why the exports are not significant from India.
Okay, so what are the reasons of this depreciating rupee? International as well as national.
Ma'am, the first one that I can think of is that the with increasing rates by Federal Bank of United States, there is a capital flight that we are seeing from the country, and that is why there is a depreciation in the currency. Along with that, ma'am, with the economic uncertainties of war and the economic recovery after COVID-19, there is a yearn to go back to the safer markets and pull the money out from emerging markets. That is also one of the reasons.
Okay, and in your analysis, do you think dollar has disproportionately large impact on exchange rate compared to other currencies, compared to other factors?
Ma'am, I'm unaware of the exact percentage, but
no, I'm not asking about percentage.
Yes, ma'am, but yes, there is definitely a disproportionate.
So in that context, should we try to de-dollarize our economy? And if yes, what could be the measures?
Ma'am, I would need to read a little more about this to give a concrete opinion on the same.
Okay, no problem. My last question to you: name 3 groupings which India is a part of, which are doing exceptionally well for India.
Ma'am,
it can be an economic grouping, it can be a security grouping, anything.
Yes, ma'am. The first one being Quad, that is extremely important for our interests in Indo-Pacific. The second one being SAARC.
SAARC, is it SAARC function right now?
Yes, I'm sorry, ma'am. With regards to the functional groupings, it would be G20, ma'am, which is extremely critical for harmonizing the particularly.
But in recent G20 summit, there were some disputed areas or discussions, especially when it comes to developed countries and in India. What were those issues?
Ma'am, among the ones that I can think of is the free flow of data. So that is one reason where while the developed countries want that the restrictions on data localizations be removed as much as possible, if I remember correctly, it is Osaka Convention. India, on the other hand, along with Russia and China, are primary opponents to that and want that the sovereign right over data be retained.
Yes, and third grouping?
Ma'am, BIMSTEC.
BIMSTEC?
Yes, ma'am.
When was last meeting held?
Ma'am, the summit level meeting, I am not exactly sure of, but ma'am, the foreign ministers meet took place in 2021.
And there was a dispute regarding entry of whether to allow Myanmar or not. What was India's stand, and was it correct and a moral stand to take?
Ma'am, I'm unaware of the exact stand that India has taken. However, if I may...
India actually allowed, or India had an opinion that Myanmar should be allowed to participate. And if that, now you tell me, is that a moral stand to take, given the situation going on? What is the situation going on in Myanmar?
Yes, ma'am. There was a coup that ousted...
so given that scenario, giving it full entity as an entity, was that an actual moral stand by India which India should have taken?
Ma'am, given the fact that India follows Panchasheel and practices non-intervention as much as possible in the internal affairs of the other countries, I believe it is a moral stand, while also trying for peaceful negotiations between the democratic parties and the recently in power military.
Has India played a role in that?
Yes, ma'am. India has been silently trying to broker peace between the parties while expressing its support for the ASEAN's plan. For
ASEAN's plan.
Yes, ma'am. ASEAN's 5-point plan.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
So yes, you're from Nashik.
Yes, sir.
For what Nashik is famous for?
So the top three reasons are that the Kumbh Mela takes place, and it is the one of the 12 Jyotirlings. The second is the wine capital of India, and it is also famous for onions, sir.
Okay. Is there any onion that has been taken as GI tag by Maharashtra?
Onions, sir. The Nashik Valley wine has been according to the GI tag, sir.
You want water?
No, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Yes. So you're telling about wine and the grapes. I want to talk about Kumbh Mela. Every year Kumbh Mela occurs, or is a time period?
Sir, 12 years.
At every 12 years. What is the environmental impact of Kumbh Mela in that area?
So there are two major types. That is, first regarding the water pollution, and the other one regarding the air and sound pollution. So the water pollution is definitely an issue wherein the large influx of tourists that come creates a lot of sewage and other water wastes, and that also has significant problems on the ecological flow, wherein just for the period of the Kumbh Mela, sir, certain extra barrages are diverted. The water from certain barrages are diverted to ensure that the adequate flow of water is maintained. While for the rest of the year, sir, Godavari's ecological flow is not maintained to the optimum requirements. And sir,
so just for sake of Kumbh Mela, we play with the ecological flow of Godavari river. That is what you are saying.
Yes, sir.
So shouldn't we stop these festivals which interrupt with the ecological flow of the system?
So Kumbh Mela holds a very special place in the heart of not just Hinduism but also the religious sentiments of other communities as well. So stopping it outright might not be the optimum solution. However, it can be ensured that as far as possible an eco-friendly measure can be instated, wherein regarding the water flow, sir, it can be ensured that not just during Kumbh Mela, water augmentation by various sources can be practiced, and that the ecological flow is maintained throughout the years.
Okay, yes. I was going through the news and I found that the Nashik forest range, they saved a 10-day-old leopard, and then they made effort to get the little one back to the mother. And now I'm putting you into a situation. You are a forest officer. You get a call that a man-eater has been found, and people are about to kill that man-eater, and that man-eater is just 10 to 12 days young. What efforts you would make to save that little one?
So foremost, I would alert the nearest possible forest department officials and also the police department officials to reach the site and to secure the area and ensure that the locals do not try and take matters into their own hand. And sir, every division has a rapid response team, especially in regions of man-animal conflict. So it can be ensured that the team is dispatched at the scene and that the animal is secured. Since the animal is only 10 to 12 days young, it is likely that it won't pose any immediate significant threat to the locals. So the effort should be made to capture and relocate the animal. Along with that, since Nashik area is very infamous for the man-animal conflict, particularly for leopards, long-term efforts for IEC regarding the best practices for man-animal conflict and sensitization of the locals as to not harm the animals, at least when there is no immediate threat.
Okay.
Can be.
Yes, my last question. Can this ground of man-animal conflict, can this conflict of man and animal be the ground for putting a Schedule 1 animal or wild ones as vermin?
So, vermin, actually categorization of vermin is not possible for Schedule 1. However, hunting of specific declared man-eater animals is possible with the due permission of the Chief Wildlife Warden, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Yash.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yash.
Yes, ma'am.
So one of your optional was geology and another was forestry.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me, how do they impact each other?
Ma'am, there is a feedback cycle that both of them interact in, wherein the forest ecosystem provides the necessary organic additions to the soil, and thereby it alters the nature of the forest soils and rocks found in the region. Along with that, forest resources are barriers against weathering and erosion agents, wherein they, as particularly for water erosion, ma'am. So that is how they maintain a separate nature of the geology in the area. And ma'am, regarding geology, the nature of the rocks and the soil determine what kind of forests would be found in a region. And say for example, ma'am, in geology, wherein in Deccan Plateau, we would not find a sal to the extent that we do in North India. And Tectona grande, that is teak, is primarily found in these regions. So the distribution of the forest species and the local abundance of the trees would be determined by, among other factors, by its geology.
Very right. Name at least 3 major legislations made for forest by India.
Yes, ma'am. The Indian Forest Act of 1927, the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, and the Forest Conservation Act of 1980.
Very right. Give me 5 qualities which are very necessary for a successful forest officer.
Yes, ma'am. The foremost should be love for nature. The second one would be that he should be a team player. Third should be curiosity. Fourth, integrity. And fifth one should be compassion, particularly towards tribals.
Okay, and how many do you have in yourself?
Ma'am, I'd like to believe that I exhibit all of them.
Okay, so give me an example where you have showed compassion towards other species.
Other species. Ma'am, in winter, in Delhi, since the winters are very severe, I, along with my friends, ensured that the stray dogs of the region had the cotton, the jute mats, so that where they can sleep, so that they don't have to sleep on the cold floors of the roads.
Okay. My last question to you. Who is your role model?
Ma'am, my father.
Okay. Thank you, Yash. Your interview is over.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Come in, please. Sit, Yash. So, what is your own analysis about your performance today?
Ma'am, that I could have answered certain questions better with more reading and awareness.
Okay. What else?
A couple of pauses that I took in between, that I could have avoided that. The rest, I think, I'm trying to improve on the feedback that I got in the previous interview. So I think I've done relatively better in that regard.
Okay. So Yash, with our discussion, this is also your analysis is correct, that you are a very good candidate, and we have high hopes with you. Thank because we think that you will be getting good score, especially in interview. You are well dressed. You have a very pleasant personality. You have a very calm, decent demeanor. Your pitch and tone of your voice is good. And apart from that, hand movement was not there. It was largely restricted. Eye contact can be improved.
Okay.
So when you were talking to sir, you were not exactly looking at him.
Yes.
So it's better that you develop a good, healthy eye contact. Then you have information. Your analysis is also good. But you should be more careful with your statements. So I would like to believe. So why would you like to believe? So be more concrete.
Okay.
Over the statements you are making. You have the quality of politely saying no. So that is a good quality. That shows your firmness. You will have to read environment and forest a little bit more.
Yes, ma'am.
So especially your hobbies, linking your hobbies. So if you have a hobby of heritage tourism, then how will it relate to forest, TED Talks? Like you haven't read anything on forest and environment in any book.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you have reading as a hobby, you can read one or two things.
Yes, ma'am.
Apart from that, if you want to smile, yes. So one feedback that one of the panelists has supported, that your smile was a little inappropriate at one or two instances.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
watch your video very carefully. So we have to be very positive and have a smiling face. But it's very important, where do we smile?
Right, ma'am.
If we do it consciously. So it should be very natural.
Yes, ma'am. We'll do that.
You want to ask anything?
Ma'am, regarding the pace of my answers, was I speaking too fast or something?
No, we didn't notice it.
Okay.
We found it appropriate. But if you think that you were having any issue regarding your pace,
No, ma'am. That is the feedback that I've received in the previous mocks, and I've been trying to slow it down consciously.
we were not disturbed by that. We found it to be appropriate.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, and if I may ask, regarding the question that you had asked regarding the 5 qualities, and I'd said that I'd like to believe so. What can I say alternatively?
You should say, ma'am, I have these qualities.
Like assertively.
You can say. So if you are confident that you have those qualities, only then you can make us convinced that you have those qualities.
Yes.
If you are yourself not sure.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'll do that.
And especially at that time also, you made a smile of that you yourself were not convinced when you told those qualities. And when I asked, do you have them? You gave a smile, which was indicative that you yourself are not convinced that you have those qualities.
Yes, ma'am. I'll definitely work on that.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Great. Best wishes.
Thank you, ma'am.